Good afternoon. This is video number 7, and the date is January 19th. It's a Sunday, 2025. The topic today is why do people do these things, or the illusion of separation. I made a really quick list of different mystics from different traditions, and one of the things that they all focus on is this idea of oneness, the idea that everything is connected, like everything is connected. I think it was in Jesus Christ Superstar, there's a line that says, the rocks and stones themselves will start to sing. So they even, when you are of a mystical frame of mind, you even connect with rocks and stones. And some of the mystics, quick list: Meister Eckhart, the Christian tradition; Meister Eckhart, the Gospel of Thomas, which is an apocryphal book, non-canonical book, but very interesting book; the Quaker tradition, also emphasizing the oneness of everything. And when you have this emphasis on everything being connected, how likely is it that you're going to screw somebody in business or anywhere else in relationships? Not too likely. Because if you even feel a kinship with the rocks and stones and the birds and the plants and the animals, that's why people go vegan, because they can't bear the idea of killing a sentient being to eat them. That's why they go vegan. Um, and that's part of the whole idea that everything's connected. Another one from the Hindu tradition, Swami Kriyananda Rama Tirtha, and going back to the Western Christian tradition, Thomas Aquinas. Thomas Aquinas is famous for the syllogism, formal logic. But at the end, and he did a lot of writing, he did a lot of Aristotelian discourse, and the whole tradition is based on Aquinas. A whole part of the tradition is based on him. And at the end of his life, he had a mystical experience. And he was quoted as saying, everything I have written is straw in comparison to this direct experience of the divine. This is what we're lacking. We have this idea that we're separated, and we're not separated. We are all linked together. So again, that image of the spider web, if you have a spider web and you pull on one thread, what's going to happen to the rest of the web? The whole thing is going to move, right? Right. Well, same thing if you're weaving cloth. If you're pulling one thread, the whole thing is going to be affected. Or if you're crocheting or knitting or anything like involving textiles, it's all woven, or it's all connected. The Sufis from the Islamic tradition, the Sufis were big on this kind of thing. And one of my favorites is Julian of Norwich, going back to the Christian Western tradition. Julian of Norwich has a famous quote where she said, she was an anchorite, meaning she lived in a little room that was attached to a church, and she just stayed by herself. She was solitary most of the time. But ironically, she had a lot of people visiting her to get her counseling and her advice. But one of the things that she's quoted of famously is saying, don't worry, my children, all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. And all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. It sounds a little bit daft unless you understand what she's getting at. What she's getting at is an idea that's so profound that it kind of turns me into a, speechless, which is not easy to do with me. You know, well, it's true, but what she meant was, it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter how bad it is. In the end, God has the control of all of it. The good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. And all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. I just felt that I wanted to make a quick video today because I've been kind of depressing myself with all this discussion and these stories about how awful people can be when they can be awful. They can be awful. That's not a lie. However, we have to balance everything, and I was getting tired of the dreck. So I thought, let me make the video that I wanted to make. I wanted to actually incorporate this into all the videos and didn't get a chance to because I kind of get carried away. But this idea that the way to peace and the way to the kingdom of heaven is to understand that connection, that everyone is connected. What else did I want to say today? I'm ignoring squirrels that are crossing in front of my view. Oh, I'll tell you anyway. Should be its own video, but I'll just mention it. People, including myself, who've had near-death experiences, you're never the same again. You're never the same again. This was a long time ago, and unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, the more time that passes, the further you get from that experience, and it kind of, the effects lessen a little bit, but they don't lessen completely. One of the things that was a lasting effect from that experience was I cannot bear to see depictions of violence, whether it's real life warfare like live feeds or something, or even if it's fiction and it's a movie or something and it's meant to be, it's obviously fiction. I can't watch it. I get sick. I feel like it's happening to me. What does that mean? That means when someone has that mystical near-death experience, you capture that oneness. It becomes real to you. And you have this very strong sense that I'm a part of you and you're a part of me. And guess what? All the religions teach something like this. What's the idea of the golden rule? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That means we're connected. If we were separate from one another, who cares what I do to this person that I'm trying to upsell a panel to? And your conscience is bothering you, right? If I have any conscience left, he said. Yeah, well, I should have listened. But fear takes over and the brain stops working. The thinking brain stops working when the fear takes over. That happens to everyone. But the idea is Jeremy knew that there was something wrong with upselling that panel. He knew. That's why he made that little remark, if I have any conscience left. He knew. And he understood probably better than Sam did, and anyone in that company understands we're connected. And if I hurt Sherry, I'm hurting myself. And the idea of the golden rule, it's not only a statement of care for your brother, it's care for yourself too. Because if I hurt you, I'm hurting myself. If you hurt me, you're hurting yourself. Why? Because we are all integrally bound together. We're all part of creation. I mean, think about blood types and blood transfusions. If you need one, they're not going to ask the person who donates the blood. They're going to ask, is it A, B, or O, or A positive, or whatever, that whole thing with the blood types. They're not going to ask, are you a Jehovah's Witness or a Catholic or a Muslim? They're going to say, she's a type A positive, give her A positive. What was the other thing that I wanted to talk about? Oh, as far as positivity, which I've been lacking, a deplorable lack of positivity. There are some good people in the world, and one of them is named John Welsh, and he was recommended to me by my carpenter friend, who certainly did me some good deeds over the years. And I have his phone number. I'm going to put it in comments. Why do I say he's such a good guy? Because he is. When I had that flood, which Ben Franklin Plumbing partly caused by putting in an appliance that was destined to fail because it was cheap. And I never called them on that because I figured, well, it's my own fault for buying a cheap appliance from Amazon Marketplace. My fault. I never, ever called them on the carpet about that flood. I had a major flood in this house, and it tore my world apart for months and months. It's still not completely rectified, because once things get out of alignment, you shift things in one room to another room. It takes a lot of time and energy to get everything put back the way it should be, and I'm still not there. This flood happened in late September, early October. I think September 28th, 2003. I had said 4, but 4 was when they finished the repairs. I got confused. Again, widow brain. I got confused. It happened in 2003 in late September, September 28th. Whoosh. The appliance that Ben Franklin installed failed, and they didn't have the capacity, experience, wherewithal, caution, concern, you name, pick one, to tell me, don't install this appliance, it's going to fail. And an older plumber with more experience probably would have been able to convey this to me, but they didn't. They were young guys. They're always sending young guys over, and they're very personable and very attractive and very nice, and they don't always know exactly what they do know what they're doing, but they don't have that level of experience that would have forestalled that whole problem. Now, what happened after that is the subject of another couple of videos all on their own, but short version is I had to deal with an insurance company which was a little bit sketchy in different ways. They were trying to push me towards this one flooring company that they sent a salesman here and they wanted to replace the entire house of hardwood. Well, the flood only happened in a very small area near the bathroom, a little bit in one of the bedrooms, and in the hallway, the main hallway. And the hallway was even a question whether that had to be replaced. Probably not, but that's okay. It does, it's contiguous, so he wanted to replace the whole hallway. That was fine. But I didn't need to tear apart the entire house. That's insurance abuse. That's dishonest. And the insurance company was pushing for that. I'll leave it to you to figure out why that might have been. I tell you what, there's so many dishonest people in this world. Dear God, help us. Anyway, so my carpenter friend Marty recommended John Welsh. I got his phone number. I'm going to put it in the comments. He's a hardwood guy, and he replaced the. He came. Now all these other people came in. Oh, we got to replace the whole house. The levels are going to be different. The colors are going to be different. We have to replace the whole house. I said, the bedroom all the way at the other end of the house didn't get any water at all. Why would I need to tear up this whole hardwood of the whole house? I'm sorry. I know insurance companies, everybody hates them, but insurance companies are people too, I guess, Yeah, they can be pernicious also. And they weren't that nice to me either, to be honest. But my conscience is clear. I saved that insurance company $30,000 that they didn't need to spend on this job. And instead it was like 17 or something, 17, 18, something like that for the hardwood. No, it wasn't even, it was 8,000 for the hardwood. And that's all. Because John Welsh came in honest. This is the value of an honest person. John Welsh came in, he took a look, and all these other people who came in, we got to replace the whole, look at this and that, and you're going to have different levels and you can't do this. And I said, let me just think. And this time I said, let me think about it. And here's what I did. I followed my subsequent advice. I consulted experts. I didn't just leave it to my own widow brain. I called Marty and I asked Marty, what should I do? Do you have anybody? He said, oh, I got somebody for you, John Welsh. John Welsh came in, honesty. He came in and he looks around, he goes like this, this is a repair. It's not even a big one at that. And he quoted me a decent price, a fair price. And voila, my floor was put back together. And all the other people that I dealt with, including some people who were like connected a little bit with the insurance company, which they're not supposed to be. And the insurance adjuster had a very funny phraseology when he was talking about this to the company and some other people. He said she declined or refused a complete replacement of the hardwood of the entire house. You're darn right I refused it. First of all, it disrupts me tremendously. I'd have to take everything out of this house and store it somewhere. They wanted to put pods in the backyard. I'm not going to do pods. People steal stuff. I don't want to put my whole world outside in pods. Are you nuts? And that's a disruption for me. And in the meantime, John Welsh came in and said it's a repair and not a big one at that. I love this guy. So the moral of the story is all creation is one. And this guy, John, understands this, that you're not supposed to screw people around. You're not supposed to mess around with cheating people, even an insurance company. Because then when your premiums go up and they don't write policies anymore, then you're going to pay. Because again, everything is one. Everything is oneness. There is no disconnection. The illusion of separation, that I'm different from Sam and Jeremy and Paul from Terminex, I'm separate from them. I'm in a different order of being. And it's okay to screw around with me with money because, hey, why not? It's going to be good for me. I'm going to have a short-term benefit and she's going to suffer, but too bad, too bad. She's got the money. Actually, I don't. I didn't, and I still don't. So the idea that I can screw people around just to have a benefit for myself is it's delusional. It's false because you eventually, like people like to say karma, that kind of stuff. Well, that's true. It's whatever you call it. You want to call it karma or something else. Everything that we do sends energy out to the universe that's going to rebound back onto us. So if we send out good energy, positive energy, it's going to come back to us. And if you don't believe that, see how your life is going. Look back on the patterns of your life. Look for patterns. When you see a pattern of something reoccurring, that's the thing you need to pay attention to because there's a lesson that God, the universe, whatever you want to call these things, Jesus, Allah, whatever, that mystical, magical thing out there that creates everything and keeps everything in balance. What God, okay, it's just short form, is trying to tell you something. Look for the patterns of your life. And remember one thing. Don't sign anything. Remember this little line. Seal up your dome, protect your home, and hang up that phone. Scammers lurk in all the halls. Don't answer email, text, or calls. Because not everyone realizes that we're all one. And a lot of people have the illusion of separation, which I think is what the devil is. The illusion of separation, which disconnects me from you, which means you can screw me over and you're not going to be bothered, but you will be bothered. You will be bothered by it one way or the other. And I hope you get the strength to deal with it when it hits you, because it will hit you. Karma will hit you. Anyway, that's all for now. I needed to make this, and ironically or coincidentally enough, this is video 7, which is a very mystical number in world religions, and I just felt the need to make this connection video. So remember, we are all in this together. We're all connected. We're all a one being, one entity. What happens to me is going to affect you. And as Exodus 22, verse 22 said, if you oppress the widow and the orphan, I will make your wife a widow and make your children fatherless. It's pretty harsh. Pretty harsh. I hope not. I hope, may God give us the strength to deal with everything that's coming down the pike. Peace out.